Welcome students, welcome again to the video lesson of village Palampur. So in the last video we discussed about how the farming in Palampur is based on, yes, so the farming in Palampur is based on some factors. So in that we were discussing the first and second factor. So which was the first factor? We discussed about the land is fixed, right? This is one of the factor where the production of farming is in the Palampur is based on. So after that we discussed changes in the method of cultivation. So what kind of changes had been taken, or maybe what kind of changes had been brought in the farming of Palampur to bring more production in cultivation, right? So along with that we discussed multiple cropping. Along with that we discussed about the multiple cropping, and also we just discussed about the modern farming. You have to remember that. So in that, how this multiple cropping along with that modern farming has been brought into cultivation, in the sense it was made possible because of the green revolution. Okay, green revolution. I stopped the video yesterday by introducing about green revolution. I hope you have well know, or you have listened, or you have heard about green revolution. So what is this green revolution? So this green revolution, it refers the sudden increase, or a sudden, or maybe we can say a spectacular increase in the production of food grains. So it happened during 1950 to 1990, particularly in 1960s in India. Okay, so in 1960 what happened? A record production of food items were witnessed. So this marked a turning point in the agriculture, which then it led to a green revolution in India. So through this green revolution we become self-reliant in production of food grains. So because we all know that our country has been ruled over by Britishers up to 200 years, right? So in that, no developmental activities have been taken to improve the cultivation land, or maybe any kind of cultivation activities, right? So as we become independent, what happened? The people were stagnant, the economy was stagnant, the agricultural sector was stagnant, and to improve all those things, some economic activities have been introduced, some economic reforms has been introduced. Along with that, land reforms also has been introduced. In those things, these green revolution also has been implemented, and we achieved such a good result in that. Okay, so just let's discuss about a green revolution in short. What is this green revolution and how it has been occurred, and what we have achieved in this green revolution? Okay. So in 1960 what happened? A record production of food items was witnessed, and this marked a turning point in the agriculture, which then led a green revolution in India. And this green revolution is the increase in the production of food crops, especially the wheat crop in India. So this green crop, it concentrated, or it has been taken much effort on growing more and more wheat and rice. So you may have think, why only wheat and rice only they have made they have just brought increased production of this, in the sense, because in a whole India, when we become free, we have dependent on some other countries for these food grains, mainly wheat and rice, because wheat and rice are the staple food of country. So because of that, we used to import these food grains from other countries. So to stop this particular burden and to become self-reliant, our government have made number of efforts. So we can say numerous efforts. So finally we just achieved a lot. Okay, and this revolution is led to an enormous increase in the production of food grains in the country. Okay, this revolution is called as green because due to its there was a tremendous increase in the greenery in the entire country, because this green revolution is related to the production of rice and wheat, which will be called as greenery, which is related to greenery. So because of that, it is known as green revolution. Along with that, in India we have witnessed number of other revolutions, like a white revolution, blue revolution, yellow revolution, right? So like this, first we witness this green revolution. So how it has been happened? So this period from 1960 to 1980 is also known as the golden era due to the record production in food grains. Due to this revolution, our country became self-sufficient and even started having buffer stocks of food items which can be used during the times of natural calamities like floods and droughts. So you know what is meant by buffer stock, right? We have one more lesson, particular lesson, which gives more explanation about buffer stock that we will discuss in the upcoming chapters. Okay, now let's come to the other things in green revolution. The land is natural resource and thus it is very necessary to use it very carefully. Due to modern methods, it has been overused. With continuous use of groundwater from the tube wells, the level of water table in the ground has been reduced. So most probably, yesterday I gave you one question as homework. So why land has to be secured? Why it is known as it is very necessary requirement and we have to use it very carefully, because maybe it is a natural resource, but it is very necessary to use it very carefully, because due to modern methods of cultivation or using of fertilizers, it is losing its fertility along with its the good nature. So because of that, when we are using land, it is very essential that we have to take utmost care and then we have to use this particular. Okay. You have seen that and you have observed that one way of increasing production from the same land is by multiple cropping. The other way is to use modern farming methods of higher yield. And yield is measured as crop produced on given piece of land during a single season. So we have also understood that by using multiple cropping method and modernized cultivation methods, now Palampur is earning or it is cultivating more and more crops, and the outcome of this cultivation is getting more. So along with this, what made this change to bring, in a sense, traditional methods? Before this green revolution, the farmers, they use only traditional methods of cultivation. So like plowing with classical methods, and for the fertilizers they were using only the cow dung or other manure as their fertilizer. So but this may give somewhat fertility to the land, but it is not up to the mark. So when green revolution in 1960 introduced in Indian farmers, and in the cultivation of wheat and rice by using high yielding varieties of seeds, it compared to the traditional seeds, we can say that it is the best of all others, because these HYV seeds are specially designed and specially manufactured, and some changes has been brought into that to get more and more cultivation. And along with this particular green revolution, it includes using of HYV seeds, using of pesticides often, and using of fertilizers. Okay, and also it improved the irrigational system. So irrigation system is very much important for each and every cultivable land, because in the earlier days, all the farmers, they used to wait for the rain for their cultivation. But as green revolution has been introduced, government also started to give some support to the people in the sense the farmers, and they have by taking these support as like subsidies, they have started to set up their own tube wells in their own land. So this make very easy to go for irrigation system artificially. Before that, only a natural irrigation system was followed, or it has been, the peasants will be waiting for the natural irrigation system, which will be done by the rainfall. But now people have been started to set up their own tube wells in their particular their land. Okay, so after this, the whole country witnessed such a great result through this green revolution. Mainly, the farmers of Punjab, Haryana and western Uttar Pradesh were the first to try out the modern farming method in India, and the farmers in these regions set up tube wells for irrigation and made use of HYV seeds, chemical fertilizers and pesticides in farming. Some of them brought farm machineries like tractors, threshers, and which made plowing and harvesting very faster, and they were rewarded with high yield of wheat also. Those the farmers, those who make use of this particular modern methods, they were witnessed with, or they were rewarded with high yield of wheat. And in Palampur, the yield of wheat grown from the traditional varieties was 1300 kgs per hectare. With HYV seeds, the yield went up to 3200 kilometers. Just go to the difference. In Palampur, if they were going for the cultivation through traditional methods or traditional varieties of seeds, they were cultivating, or their outcome was only 1300 kgs per hectare. But when they have used HYV seeds, their products or their production of wheat has been double. Not only double, it has been more than its doubled ratio. It was 3200 kgs per hectare. There was a large increase in the production of wheat, and farmers now had greater amount of surplus wheat to sell in the markets. Did you understand? So now, compared to the other timings, compared to the whatever the cultivation that they were doing in the before the green revolution, now they have more surplus food grains for sell in the market. Okay, we have discussed many things about the green revolution now. So I think we have discussed all the merits of green revolution. So what are the merits of green revolution? So it produces, it uses HIV seeds, and it make use of irrigation, and it will make use of fertilizers and pesticides. Through that, the outcome of production will be more. But as it has merits, it also has some demerits. So that will be known as, that will be listed in one particular point of forms of Palampur. That is, will the land sustain? Will the land sustain? Land being a natural resource, it is necessary to be very careful in its use. Scientific reports indicate that the modern farming methods have overused the natural resource base. So what did you understand this? Scientific reports indicate that the modern farming methods in the sense, the methods which we are using from the Green Revolution period. So before Green Revolution period, only the classical method was used, and as there was a Green Revolution in India, number of modern farming methods have been used, which uses the natural resources in a very abundance way. So it can be termed as overuse or overutilized. In many areas, green revolution is associated with the loss of soil fertility. Yes, in many areas, what happened because of green revolution, it associated, that the particular green revolution is associated with the loss of soil fertility. So we can take as one particular demerit is loss of soil fertility due to increased use of chemical fertilizers, because in green revolution farmers are using more and more chemical fertilizers. So when they are using chemical fertilizers, it won't go anywhere. So when it will mix with the water, so directly it will go into the soil, and it will meet underground water, as well as all the chemicals will be absorbed by the soil. Then the soil will absorb, the fertility will be degraded, because when they are using chemical fertilizers along with the pesticides, our soil will lose the fertility. Also, continuous use of groundwater and tube well irrigation has reduced the water table or water level. So now, as the green revolution gave a way for artificial irrigation system, so because of that, all the cultivators are depending on tube wells, right? So if they want to make use of tube wells, in the sense they want to get underground water, so when they are using continuously, when they are taking this groundwater continuously, then the water level will become less, and environmental resources like soil fertility and groundwater are built up over many years, so it won't be replaced very easily. It will take too much of time. So once destroyed, it is very difficult to restore them. Getting it? So if we destroy once our natural resources, it will be very difficult to restore it again. So we must take care of environment to ensure for the future development of agriculture. Okay. After this, let's discuss how is land distributed between the farmers of Palampur. You must have realized how important land is for farming. So already when we have discussing about the land as well as the farming, we came to know that land is very much important for farming, and unfortunately not all the people engaged in agriculture have sufficient land for cultivation. For example, in Palampur, about 1/3 of the 450 families. So what we said in the earlier, Palampur has 450 families. In that, more than 1/3 of the family, they belongs to, or 1/3 of the population, it belongs to backward classes, and they are landless people, right? And more than 150 families, most of them, they are Dalits. Dalits means the people those who belongs to the scheduled caste or backward class, and they don't have land for cultivation. And of remaining families who own land, like 250 families cultivate small plots of land less than 2 hectares in size. So in that, some of the people, some population of Palampur, they have only small area of land for cultivation which is less than 2 hectares in size. Cultivation of such small plots doesn't bring adequate income to the farmer's family. So because we know that if the lands are less, if the land is very small in area, in the sense when they cultivate also, they won't get the adequate surplus produce. So because of that, it is very much important that whatever land that they are going to cultivate, it must be somewhat larger. Okay. In 1960, Govind was a farmer with 2.25 hectares of a largely unirrigated land. With the help of his 3 sons, Govind cultivated a land. So this is a small story of Govind which has been given in your book. Let's go through that. In 1960, what happened? Govind was a farmer with 2.25 hectares of largely unirrigated land. So he had 2.25 of unirrigated land. What is meant by unirrigated land? Unirrigated land is there is no sources of irrigation. If they want to irrigate the land, he has to wait until the rain comes. Okay. And with the help of his 3 sons, Govind cultivated the land, and though they did not live very comfortably, though they are cultivating the land, but they are not able to live comfortably because it is not irrigated lands. So it is not artificially irrigated, and the family managed to feed itself with a little bit of extra income from one buffalo that the family possessed. Okay, so they had one buffalo with their family, and however, with very hard efforts, they are able to manage their family. Okay, some years after Govind's death, this land was divided among his 3 sons. Now Govind was died, and the land which he had, what was the area of land? It was only 2.25 hectares, and now this particular land has been divided into 3 holdings, or 3 parts into his 3 sons. Okay, each one now has a plot of land that is only 0.75 hectares in size. Okay, now each son has only 0.75 hectares in size. Even with improved irrigation and modern farming method, Govind's sons are not able to make living from their land. Now, however, but it is not comfortable, but however they were managed to go on with their family, with the produce of whatever they are getting from that land, which was 2.25 hectare earlier. But now when it was subdivided, it was divided with with their sons by only 0.75 hectares. It is very difficult then now they have started, these sons, they have started to make use of modern methods of farming. Then also they are not able to go for good cultivation in this. And why? They have to look for additional work during the part of the year. So now they are not able to go for good farming condition, or maybe to produce more and more. And this is your assignment, that you have to tell why these sons are not able to produce more on the land. What may be the reasons? So okay, just take it as an assignment and you just submit it on the Google Classroom. Okay students, let's end by this today. We will meet again tomorrow with a new part of the lesson. Okay, thank you. Namaste.